up in the wee hours to use the common restroom has some advantages. I peered through the haze, and there was a glimmer, a hint of snow, a hint of higher peaks. I watched and waited, eagerly to see the Annapurna. It seemed almost impossible, but suddenly there she emerged out of the clouds. Looking at these mountains was like looking at life itself. At first, the huge mountains that one sees are the close ones. Everything else is obscured from view, like Maya. It's almost as though nothing exists beyond these dark mountains. And then suddenly, the sky clears, the fog lifts for a moment, and you see, towering before you, peaks in magnificent grandeur. We set out from Bhagarchap to Chame. Chame was the district headquarter. We were at a higher elevation now, but there were still many trees. Our path hugged the Marsyangdi river for a while, but we had to climb higher and higher and higher on this day. Occasionally, we got a lovely spot to sit and look back at the mountains. We gathered at the entrance of yet another village. The stones were piled together to form a lovely wall. In front of us, the towering range rose in sheer height, while the sun dawned beautifully on a peaceful little village. In these mountains, every ascent means a descent, and we had to go all the way down and cross the stream over these rickety logs. It was certainly an adventure. We had never done something like this before. The path was a squishy path full of mud and mule dung. However, the breathtaking views kept one's mind away, giving a totally different perspective of the path that one took. We came to an upper forested area lush with ferns and blossoms. Passing yet another waterfall, we headed down our muddy path and came to a shanty. Was this to be our lunch place? Hopefully not. While we rested, our guide scouted for a proper restaurant. Most of them were closed for renovation as the season was over, but there was one place that had tables on the outside with a beautiful view of the obscured mountains. We had decided to stop even though it was early, as our porters were hungry. After a rest, we set out on our path. What you see here is almost a historical snapshot of what the place was like in 2011. Videos taken today show a lot of development. Maintenance tools were like this at that time. Fields were full of blossom, and small little houses decorated the landscape. And what a landscape it was! Towering mountains and glowing fields below. People worked the fields with their hands, patiently toiling for an annual yield. The various stages of ripened paddy colored the landscape: greens, reds, oranges, yellows. It glowed in patches against the dark, ominous cliffside. The vertical cliff rose majestically and high into the clouds. These were fold mountains, young fold mountains, that were naturally uplifted frequently. We walked past the mesmerizing riot of color that belayed the grey above. You could see nothing of the higher mountains, and soon we were way above, almost eye to eye with some of these cliffs, looking down on those beautiful fields. Once again, I learnt lessons on perspective. Things near one notices in great detail. Things far away appear to be so impossible to attain. And yet, with a little effort, one step at a time, one finds that one is already there. The dung flies had pestered us the last part of the journey, flying into our eyes. They tried to get past the sunglasses and cling to our eyelashes. Beer bottles that were brought in for Western tourists were creatively used for landscaping. Everything was neat and tidy. All along the way, people were curious about our Rudraksha malas. Everyone said namaste very happily. Most of the hotels and restaurants were neat, with pretty flowering gardens well tended. Everyone seemed to be busy, washing, weeding, plowing, working, cleaning, tending animals, carrying extremely heavy loads between city and town to villages, up and down the hill. The copious beer bottles that were brought in for Western tourists were creatively used for landscaping. Brightly painted with red, blue, teal, and lilac, the favorite colors, these places are well organized for a lot of tourists. The lady of the house has her cookers, her pots and pans, bowls and plates beautifully arranged over her central wooden stove. We are finally at Chame. We look out and hope to see the Annapurna. We see the dark cliffs in front, and beyond that, the clouds hide what could be another spectacular view of the snow capped ranges that tower way above what we can see today. Thanks for watching this What is India production. Give us a like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications.